Welcome to video 3 in our Learning Python series. This short video is going to show you how to do basic arithmetic in Python. So we're going to start with having a quick look at the operators we can use in Python. As you would expect, we've got the 4 regular operators: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, plus a couple of other ones. This is not an exhaustive list of all of those in Python, but they're the ones that we will need for now. However, there's one more thing we need to think about when we are looking at these operators, and I'll demonstrate that here. We've got a simple program here. I'll just give you a moment to look at it. Now, if I'm to input, for example, 4 and 6 for the first two numbers, 4 for x and 6 for y, you might think you know what the answer is, but let's find out. Okay, so input 4 for the first one, input 6 for the second. Okay, and there's our answer, 46. It hasn't done what we think it's going to do. And this happens because, by default, Python treats all of our input as what's called a string, as characters, as letters. It doesn't realize they're numbers. So in order to get the correct result, we need to actually tell Python that these are going to be numbers. So the way we do that is we use the keyword there, int, at the beginning. Put some brackets around it, there, like so. And what that does is it takes whatever we've input here from the input command, and int will convert that into an integer. And of course, whatever we've typed in there, we also convert that to an integer. Python is smart enough to know then that obviously x plus y, the result will be an integer because x and y are both integers themselves. So let's run that program again. Try the same thing again, 4, 6, and this time we get the correct answer, we get 10. So that's a common mistake that you'll make quite a lot when you first learn Python. You'll forget to convert these inputs into integers and you'll get some strange results. Here's a quick list of some of the common data types in Python. We've already used string in the first two videos because by default all inputs are strings. Here we've used integers. And you can see that if we wanted to input a decimal number, we could use float instead of int. Boolean we will look at in the next video when we look at conditionals. Okay, so back to our code. Now, as well as doing maths directly like this in the output statement, the print statement here, we can also assign results to variables. So I could say something like total equals x plus y. And that will create a new variable called total, which of course will have the total of x added to y there. Equally, I can do something like average is equal to total divided by 2. And then obviously if I want those to be output, then I can print those two variables out like so. Okay, and if we run that program, let's try 15 and 45. Total is 60. 60 over 2 is 30. Something else I can do is that we can assign variables values without even doing any input whatsoever. So up here, if I wanted to, I could get rid of that input and I could just, not a useful program, but I could actually just hard code those values in there. And the maths would work exactly the same as it did before. So I don't necessarily need input. Another thing that sometimes confuses people is increasing variables by a certain number. So let's say, for example, I have here x equals 0, and I want to add 1 to x. I can just say x equals x plus 1. Okay, if I print that out just to prove to you that it works, let's run that program and see. Indeed, it prints out 1 because x is now 0 plus 1. Sometimes this notation confuses people because x is on both sides of the equal sign here, but that's entirely legal. Sometimes you will see this in code online, x plus equals 1, which might look a little bit strange. Basically, this has the same effect as line 2. It increases x by 1. I would recommend that you avoid this notation, because it can be a little bit confusing, especially if you're writing code in the exam. It's quite easy to lose that in your handwriting. Also, it's easy to make a mistake and accidentally type x equals plus 1, which has a completely different effect. Line 4 here increases x by 1, line 5 sets x to +1, or in other words, to 1. So personally I would avoid the notation here on line 4, and I would use the notation on line 2 instead, even though it's slightly longer. Okay, that's the end of our video on maths in Python. I'm going to leave you with a few exercises to try, and in the next video we're going to look at conditionals. Have fun!